Hello and good day. The media, most of in I would say in almost every country, is controlled by the governments that are there. It's and I mean all the countries in the world, third world countries, second world, first world countries, all countries. So sometimes it is controlled by the government. So what you get from a news outlet or a TV or newspaper or anything from another country, most likely, not always, but most likely, it represents the view of the government, or it's not against the view of the government. Okay. Uh, in Cincinnati, when Ted Turner won, I think, the Businessman of the Year, okay, after his TV station in Cincinnati, he had an interview later on, and he said that the reason the US lost the Vietnam War was because of TV. And he said that because of that, people at home eating dinner, and watching all this horrible things. Well, war is horrible, and that's why they went against it. But in actually, the U.S. should not lose that war. Okay, I mean, if you look now at the Vietnam, you would think that the Vietnamese would have, if they knew what they're gonna get, they would have said, "Oh, let's lose the war. Let's be other Americans." It's different. It's not like before the British and the French and the Italian, actually also the Portuguese colonization. It's really different. Anyway, so he decided, that's the thing he said, that it didn't really sink in till later on, in the first Gulf War, which means the war to liberate Kuwait. CNN was there, and the newspaper media at that time, they called them CNN Chicken Noodles Network, But after that war, and the coverage and being in Baghdad at that time and all these things, CNN stocks rose high and everybody became to respect them. Now, in the second Gulf War later on, when the United States wanted to invade Iraq, I think they listened to what Ted Turner said, and they decided not to let all the media be there. They had CNN only, and CNN would only cover what they give them, and they would tell what they give them. Okay? So that is aside now. That means that the governments, most governments, not all, okay, do control their own media. Now, when you come to coronavirus, COVID-19, and what's going on with it, you see how many cases, how many all these things. Many times the governments put something, they don't allow people to give the right numbers. We know that in China, that the other places, I'm not specifying China, but most places, okay? They give less number because they come under the illusion that giving high numbers will show that we are incompetent, we cannot do our job, we cannot do anything. And another person would add, oh, they could lead to panic, But hiding that news really makes the people of that country don't take it seriously. It makes them, it's nothing, we have very low cases and almost nobody dies, and it's a 2%, because that way it's not like the cold. The flu kills more, traffic accident kills more, and all this nonsense, and I mean nonsense, So it should have been obvious. The governments should allow the media. I don't mean, well, I'm not saying allow, should not stop the media from reporting the right news, because that could affect the government efforts and try to control the virus. I'm talking here about the virus, and make the people realize that it is really serious and it is really dangerous, and putting it down and giving numbers less than what is happening leads to more deaths, which happened, before, it happened. Also, another thing is that sometimes leaking news could lead to this thing. Like, I mean, they said that they're gonna lock down Milan in Italy tomorrow. I don't know, the next day. Anyways, the people knew about it's going to be a lockdown, so they all fled. Everybody to their homes. Well, not all. A lot of people fled, and that's how the virus got started. So I'm not putting anything confused. I'm making it. It is something that decision makers should put into consideration. All these things. And the media is a very, very, very lethal weapon to be used. And this is different than what I preached before, is that they are trying to lie, and everything. But the cause for lying or hiding part of the truth led to many cases of virus cases of coronavirus that really they could have avoided. Peace.